urban renewal projects. That means they try to upgrade low income districts. I mean, where the low-income inhabitants lives. But sometimes it doesn't mean upgrading the neighborhoods. I mean, they tell like that, but it's mostly evicting lower class, lower income class inhabitants with middle class or high class. New rich class from the 90s, I mean, who came out. So there are some problems going on with the inhabitants and the municipalities. I just want to quick show some images of some artists of how they for example, Turkish artist Esra Ersen, she worked in 2000 with African immigrants. There's a huge African illegal immigrants in Istanbul. They live in one district, or in few districts, but mainly in Tarlabaşı. Sorry for the translator, it's difficult maybe to translate some Turkish words. This district is in the center of, one of the center of Istanbul. And he worked and documented the African people, how they live, how they understand the city, how they understand the urban space. I worked with the artist, and it took us like 8 months to get involved with them, and it was very interesting. We asked them, to the African refugees and immigrants, how they feel confidence and secure where they feel themselves in Istanbul. And they said McDonald's and shopping centers. And mostly we were meeting in McDonald's because they were thinking that is the place that they feel in any kind of place in the world. And shopping center was some kind of safe place to meet. And so it was very interesting because in Istanbul there was a lot of shopping centers, big malls, that some higher class and middle class people, younger people, considered as public space. So those people, they are very poor, and of course they don't shop, but it was very interesting to understand how they're using the shopping centers, or how they're understanding the space. I will go very shortly, but you can ask me later question. There is 3 artists, women, they call themselves Oda Projesi. Oda means in Korean bank, is it right? I learned that. Bank, yeah? Bank is Oda. So Oda Projesi called like bank project or something like that. They used to work in a neighborhood like 6 years or something until they evicted, not personally themselves, but a lot of neighbor inhabitants because of gentrification by the municipality. In the very center of the city, I'm not speaking about periphery here, you know, very much in the center. And they used to work a lot with the neighborhood people, inhabitants, doing a lot of activities, which is the most activities are like what Rick told about, some examples, or yesterday some other examples. We saw some kind of similar, working with children, working with women, picnicking. Generally, picnic is one of the main activities you can do very easily in Turkey. They were in a courtyard surrounded. I mean, the neighborhood had a courtyard surrounded with apartments. This is the neighborhood, Galata Tower, and yeah. So it was like. Yeah. It's the courtyard that they used a lot with the neighborhoods, and it's kind of a semi-public space. There is a gate here that you go in a kind of public square, but this little place surrounded with apartment, it used to be Ottoman Jew Jews neighborhood in Ottoman period, and then it was occupied by Kurdish and Black Sea migrants in the 90s. And so the artists had a studio here, and they just found this place because it was cheap. Of course, it's so usual always. The artists go to cheap places, neighborhoods, and work with inhabitants, and then the gentrification generally happens, and they have to move out. So most of them, they moved out. Firstly, also the project, also a lot of inhabitants. These are some activities you see in the place. And there was one Iranian artist, Solmaz Shahbazi, who worked on gated communities. She documented a lot of places. She did a lot of interviews. Also, people who live in the gated communities, and she participated in 2005 Istanbul Biennial, and this was one of her work that she did. There's some more example, but I just wanted to show how artists are working. I like this work. This is Ahmet Öğüt. This is also an artist that I produced a magazine together. He's a younger generation artist, quite known now, very known internationally. He has a Kurdish background, and he grew up in Diyarbakir in East Anatolia under the condition of civil war of Kurds and Turks. He always plays with the symbols in the public space. Like, for example, in Istanbul, when you visit, you will see a lot of taxis and a lot of police cars. So what he was doing, he was changing some cars with papers, like kind of performance, into police cars, and then to some taxi. So you go out from your office, you see your car as a police car, for example. Or I like this very much. It's so simple, but it plays with the whole idea of in Istanbul public space. What we see, what the public space is marked by police and taxi cars, for example. I want to come back to the recent neighborhood activities that is going on now. There's huge urban transformation projects initiated by the municipality, the greater municipality of Istanbul, and also by local municipalities. And they created a certain policy, and this urban policy called 5366. I don't know if it is the right English translation, but it's called preservation and rehabilitated historical buildings through renewal and their sustainable usage. It's a long title. I hope it's the right translation to English, but we shortly call it 5366. It came out in the middle of 2005. What the municipality is, government is doing, they are marking a district as an urgent urban renewal condition. They go and say that this neighborhood needs urban renewal, is an emergency situation, emergency zone, and they apply this 5366 policy. That means they can be in full power into transform the property rights of the neighborhood, and transform also other rights of the inhabitants. So in one hand, if you are a very clever and a citizen who knows your urban and dwelling rights, you can use the policy. You can negotiate with the municipality, and you can really upgrade your house or your neighborhoods. Or it's a very dangerous policy. The municipality can evict you. It's how they want. So